But in the process of doing my job, I am going to do my job to the best of my ability. And the one thing that I can assure you that is not going to happen over my dead body, I am not going to be intimidated from doing my job.
Hey, y'all, welcome into BVM Sports Insiders, joined by a guy, you know this guy, he needs no introduction, multimedia superstar, TV, radio, podcast, actor. Now my man is an author, the reigning king of sports broadcasting, and my guy, Stephen A. Smith. What's up, man?
My brother, what's going on, Mike Hill? How you been, man? You missed, my man. How you doing?
I am doing great, man. Thank you for your time, bro. Hey, let's get right into it, man. King of sports broadcasting, man. I know you're a humble dude. I know you know the title, and you know you are reigning king of sports broadcasting, really part of a king of all media. What's it mean to you to wear that crown, though?
I don't think about the crown. I think about earning it. I think about being worthy of it more so than I think about having it per se. It's here today, it's gone tomorrow, it's subjective. And you got to remember, I'm a dude that got fired. I'm a dude that, went from making 7 figures to making nothing. And so I'm always mindful and cognizant of the fact that no matter what I have, it can be gone in a snap if I make the wrong decisions. And if I don't conduct myself a certain way. I recognize that. And as a Black man, I never hesitate to remind myself that I have more people rooting against me than I have rooting for me. And so that's not me pointing the fingers at anybody. That's not me bringing up race because it's Black folks against me, just like it's white folks against me. It's like it's white folks for me, just like it's Black folks for me. And so I'm a Black man. I'm a proud Black man. I love my people and what have you, and that is what it is. But in the same breath, I'm wise and smart enough to know that everybody ain't rooting for my success. And so I keep that in the back of my mind. I'm about being on my grind and earning whatever it is that I achieve. So even when it's gone one day, nobody can say that I didn't earn my stripes. It wasn't given to me. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. And that's what keeps me humble.
I feel you on that, my brother. Hey, I want to talk about all of that because I want to get into how the Black people look at you, how white people look at you,
Sure.
And you earn it, man, because you live a good life. Let's just admit that, man. You're popular, rich, powerful. But you talked about a little bit, man. It's being somebody who has such an opinion like yourself and outspoken as you are, or as using one of your words, maybe bombastic at times. Being polarizing. Is that the hardest part about being Stephen A. Smith?
No, not at all. I actually love that part about me. It doesn't bother me at all. I consider, I was in college when I was playing for Coach Clarence Big House Gaines. He called me himself. He called me a rebel with a cause. And that was something that I've always held on to as a badge of honor. I'm not trying to be unfair. I'm not trying to be inhumane. I'm not trying to be that dude. But I do feel like it's incredibly important that when an audience looks at me, they know I mean what the hell I say. I'm not playing. When I'm acting, I save my actor for General Hospital, which I have a recurring role on. Or when I'm on TV and it's clear that I'm joking around, that's different. But when I'm serious about my business. And I say what I mean and I mean what I say. And that has always been my true, authentic self. And the reason why I've held on to that, what people would call a persona, but what I consider to be naturally me, is because it's the one thing that I can trust and I know an audience can trust. If I'm myself, then my audience always knows what it's getting. No matter what multitude or facets of my personality come shining through, the essence and the core of who I am always remains consistent. I'm that dude, Stephen A., whoever that dude is, good, bad, or otherwise. I'm consistently that person, and you can trust that I'm going to be me. I think that's how you build an audience. I think that's how you build success, by making sure that whatever you put forth to the masses is something that is sustainable. And how can anybody not sustain being themselves when it's naturally and innately who they are? And so that's what I take.
That authenticity comes through, man. I get asked about you all the time. Honestly, been working with you, people know that we're good friends. And they ask, like, man, is he for real? Is this an act? Does he really mean what he says? And I'm like, yes. Yes. I said, let me be honest with you, Stephen. Like, we're going to keep it real here because, like, nobody can be on 24/7. I'm like, when the brother ain't on air, the brother is cool, mellow. But when that light comes on, there's that side that comes out. You know what I consider you? I consider you like there's a Beyonce side, and Beyonce has this alter ego called Sasha Fierce. You know what I mean? So when Beyonce is at home chilling or whatever, it's inside her. That's still her authentic self. But when she's on that stage, man, that magic comes out. Would you consider yourself the same way?
Yeah, I'm certainly not Beyonce. I wish I was. I wish I was that elite. But I will tell you that I don't know how to explain it, bro. I have, especially over the last few months when I've been on the grind, like we're sitting here today and I'm talking about a day where I've had absolutely positively zero obligations whatsoever. I've had one day in the last 63 days where I've had absolutely no obligation whatsoever. One day in the last 63 days. And so I have been, for the first time really in my career, there's been a few times I've been on TV when I've been flat out exhausted. I don't know how to explain it, but when the lights come on, bro, it's just something that happens. I don't plan it. I don't choreograph it. I don't orchestrate it. When I see that light comes on, I know that, for example, let's take First Take for ESPN. It's nearly 500,000 viewers live on linear television at 10 a.m. That's unheard of, really, but that's what's happened. And that's what I've been blessed to be a part of with First Take and leading First Take pretty much over the last decade or so, at least half decade since Skip left. He was number one while he was there, of course. And, you have that, but then there's millions of views, like on YouTube for the ESPN YouTube channel. I average nearly 2 billion views a year. And so for me, when I look at it and I see that light come on, I imagine that millions of people are watching me. And at that moment, it doesn't matter how tired I am. It doesn't matter if I've had 2 hours sleep, 90 minutes, 3 hours, 5 hours. It doesn't matter. When the light comes on, I'm just ready. And I don't know how to explain it. I don't know where it's come from. Everything else, I would tell you, is born of hard work and the tutelage and the counsel of the greatest mother that I've ever known, which is my mother, who passed away in 2017, God rest her soul. But outside of that, when that light comes on, that's just God-given. I can't take any credit for it because I don't know what happens to me. I've been literally seconds before I've gone on the show, I'm like tight. And then all of a sudden the light comes on and I'm ready. I'm just ready.
I remember walking one time outside of ESPN radio when I was still at ESPN, and you was at the desk and you had the microphone in front of you, and I walked past, me and Jay Harris walked, and you looked dead tired. And we said, what's up? And you did like that, like, what's up? And then the light came on, bam, magic. Yeah. And so when the light comes on, you really perform, man. But it shows because you're authentic. It's that passion. It's that nature that's inside of you, man. You know what you're talking about, being prepared. I always tell people, man, don't listen to how loud he is. Listen to what the brother is saying, because the man comes with facts, he comes with his opinions, and he comes with his know-how, and he's not afraid. He is still the one that goes into the arenas, and he will see these athletes that he is talking about, whether good or bad, and he will be in their faces. So he's not afraid to be around them. But what's that dynamic like?
First things first, I'm actually seeing less now, but it's all ESPN's fault because they have me in studio. You know what I'm saying? If it were up to me, prior to 2017, when my mother, struck ill and the last days were approaching, I had to take time off to be with her. Prior to that, Mike, I was at a minimum of 120 games a year for the previous 20 to 23 years. I'm very, very big on making sure I talk to people I talk about. And if I don't talk to them, making sure that I'm seen so they know if they have something to say, they can come to me and say it. I make sure I don't change my phone number, although I've thought about it on a few occasions because trolls get a hold of your phone numbers from time to time, and I've thought about changing. But one of the biggest reasons I haven't changed my number is because I know that I'm easy to find. And I want those athletes and those coaches and those executives and those owners to know, which a lot of them have, by the way, they can pick up the phone and call me. And by the way, you can text me, you can call me, you can tell me to meet you somewhere. You can sit up there and meet me off, outside of the arena. You can talk to me off the record. You can talk to me man to man, face to face. Because I pride myself on this, man. If I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. If I said something publicly, I'm not going to apologize privately. I'll apologize publicly. When I'm tired, I'm ready to perform, but I'll still tell my audience I'm tired. That's supposed to be. That's not necessarily good television etiquette. But my whole point is I don't want to lie to my audience. I want you to know I'm tired if I'm tired. Because if I slip, I want to let you know, yo, this is why I'm exhausted. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. But the point is that I do everything that I can to be as thorough and as fair and as authentic and as real as I possibly can be, while also being humane. And that's where my courage comes from. I can look a dude in the face and look at them, say, good and damn well I wasn't rooting for you to fail. I just got to point out when you do. That's my job. We ain't having Thanksgiving dinner together. We ain't exchanging Christmas gifts. All right. I got a job to do. You got a job to do. You got to perform in your job, in your chosen profession. I have to perform in mine. That's the way it's going to go. And it ain't personal. And so for me, when cats come at me and they're upset or whatever the case may be, my whole point is have your facts in order and have your context and perspective in order. Like I've had athletes come at me, that's some bullshit you said. That's bullshit, Stephen A. Why you say this to that? I said, so I was wrong? Yeah, you were wrong. Well, why is it that when I came and asked you the same damn question, you didn't say anything? Or you gave me a different answer? Because I took all of that into consideration once I ultimately reached my conclusion. Did you think you were the last person I talked to? You didn't think I was going to go and double check? You didn't think I was going to go and triple check? You didn't think I was going to cultivate the sources that I've cultivated over the years, that I wasn't going to be able to pick up the phone and get a different perspective? When I asked your ass a damn question, maybe if you had answered me right, you would have got a different spin. So that's on you. So don't come to me telling me I'm wrong now when you had an opportunity to correct me and you passed. And that's how I come at them a lot of time. And that there's certain exceptions. Kobe, God rest his soul, when he was alive. Chris Paul, who is alive. D. Wade, and a bunch of other dudes. Very reluctant to say anything before I speak to them. Why? Number one, they were available. Number two, they will call me. They ain't send no agent, no publicist or anything. They had an issue with me. They called me directly. And they made sure that if there was something to be corrected, they would correct it. And so now you're like, okay, they ain't hiding. They ain't doing anything. They're going to let you know. And when I got somebody like that, that's a different relationship because I know I can reach him. Melo was another dude. Melo got on me one time when he was in the Olympics. He was pissed off at something I reported. I said, damn, Melo, you were all the way in Brazil. He said, when the hell did that ever stop you? He said, my phone working. He said, it never stopped you before. I had to go on the air and apologize. I literally went on the air and I said, ladies and gentlemen, he got me because I could have called him to Brazil. He would have answered the phone and he would have answered my question. I said, I didn't want to bother him in the Olympics thinking that it was an innocuous story, but it wasn't innocuous to him. And I didn't call him. I had to own that. That's men being men, professionals being professionals. And that's what it's all about.
And it's good that you can be contrite when you know that, if you're wrong about something. I think people respect you that way. We also live in a different world now, Stephen A., where, the athletes may not say anything to you, but they got their boys. They got their hands on. They got the wrong proof. And they want to prove something. They even got their fans, man. We live in a society right now that, these fanatics are on a different level. And I'm not just talking about in sports, but in politics as well.
Right.
Have you had to adjust because of that? Because it's not just a phone call that you may get from an athlete. It can maybe a threat from one of their followers, a fan, or anything like that. How have had you had to adjust over the years because of what you say and the reaction that you get to what you say?
It's been tough. Here's the reason why. It's made me more fierce, not less. I'm not backing up. And when you send someone to me or you threaten me, both of which has happened, really? I raise up. And I said, excuse my language. I'm like, that. You are not going to intimidate me. You are not. Now you can talk to me. You can reason with me. We can be men. And then whatever needs to be resolved needs to be resolved. And if I'm wrong in any way, I'll apologize and I'll correct the record. If a position needs to be modified or altered to some degree, I will do that. But that's through a conversation out of mutual respect as men. It ain't gonna be because you intimidate me. And I better do what you say. Wrong, brother. Wrong, brother. I'm not that dude. And here's the reason why. It's important to understand this. There's something called journalistic tenets, principles that we live by. I'm not here to be liked. I don't care if you don't like me. I don't care if you don't want to talk to me. It doesn't matter to me. I've elevated myself and my career to a point where I don't need to talk to you to talk about you. I get paid to talk about you. I don't get paid to talk to you. Talking to you is an actual courtesy. There is nothing in my contract that states I am required to talk to an athlete, a coach, a general manager, an owner. I don't have to talk to you. All I have to do is purview the news, see what's going on, have as many of my facts in order as possible, deduce what my opinion is from those facts, and disseminate it to the masses. That's my responsibility. I extend myself beyond my responsibilities to cultivate a relationship with everyone that I can, because I come from a journalistic background and those principles kick in. And you don't cultivate a relationship with somebody by being a punk and being scared to do your job. Think about people who cover the White House and cover politics and stuff like that. We're talking about legislators on Capitol Hill. If you can scare and intimidate a journalist, you can manipulate coverage. You can get them to disseminate lies and mistruths and all of this other stuff that comes with it, that literally deceives and serves as an evasive measure with the public. You can't do that. And if they're brave enough to go out and cover the White House and cover Capitol Hill and people who cover crime and cover the police force and cover the State Department and cover the Department of Defense and all of this other stuff, and they can do their job, why the hell can I do that talking sports? Right. Of course I can. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And nothing is going to change that. I'm a reasonable brother, man, and I don't want to hurt anybody. That's not my goal. That's not my intent. But in the process of doing my job, I am going to do my job to the best of my ability. And the one thing that I can assure you that is not going to happen over my dead body, I am not going to be intimidated from doing my job. I can be reasoned with. I can have somebody appeal to my better senses. What I ain't going to do is get intimidated and scared to do what the hell I'm supposed to do. Well, that is not going to happen.
We know you're not afraid. How far has it gone, Stephen A? How far has it gone?
Oh, I've had players, former players in the past threaten to whip my ass. You got guys that go on social media and stuff like that, allude to wanting to do something to me. You got hanger-ons that have approached me. And it's amazing. There's a couple of occasions where a couple of athletes send somebody to do something to me. They'll remain nameless. They sent somebody to do something to me. And the people they sent to me, they didn't know, were friends of mine. See, they forget I'm from the streets. They forget that I kind of know people. And the people they sent to do something actually was cool as hell with me. And the ones who weren't became cool with me because they knew I didn't deserve what the other cats tried to do. And so they were like, yo, man, this is our boy and stuff like that. Could you look out? I said, yo, here's what happened. And when I told them what happened, they were like, you good with us. You good with us, Stephen A. Because they know, listen, I'm from the streets. I know the code. I know the codes. You understand? There's certain things I would never do. You understand? There's certain lines I would never cross. Right. And they understood that. So what happened is these people, because they were upset at me talking about their game, gave the impression that I was doing other things. And when those cats came and confronted me and found out that I wasn't doing those things, right? Like, man, he's a real one, because that's what it is. And sometimes, and I'm one of those guys, there's these hardcore cats from the street. I love them. I don't look down on them. They saved my life. throughout my years growing up. They would look drug dealers, hardcore criminals, and other platforms. They looked out for me. I don't judge them. And you know why they got respect for me, Mike Hill? Because they know I'm not one of them. They can't stand these cats who are wannabe thugs, who really want to act like they from that cloth, they from that element. They have always known, I know I'm not made from that. Mm-hmm. But it don't mean I'm some punk that's gonna take some crap from somebody. That's not gonna happen. And it's not about whether I'm gonna get my ass kicked or not. It's what are you willing to get your ass kicked for? Right. And I'm the kind of person that I'm a principled man. There's certain things you just ain't doing to me. It's just not happening. I'd rather get my ass kicked than let you get away with doing that to me. Right. Certain things are wrong.
Just like people, like growing up in a certain area, man, people looked out for me. They saw something different. They knew you weren't trying to be about that life. They're going to protect you because they saw that you had an opportunity to get out. Exactly. But you still have your street credibility. And you still are a real brother, Stephen. And I'm going to tell people this right now in front of everybody. And I tell people that ask me all the time, I'll get approached to me. You can say something about an athlete a million times, they'll love you. You say the wrong thing about one black athlete, especially a black athlete, one time, especially when it comes to a political issue, and all of a sudden we get names thrown on us. I've done the same thing when it comes to news or being in sports or whatever, like, oh, you're a sellout. You get called all these different names, and they feel like, and I understand having this platform, there's a responsibility that we have to stand up and be that voice. We get that, but we also report the news. How hard is it, man, to be a part of the black community when something like that comes up? Is it fair to be criticized for not being 100% on board with what some in the community want you to say? Because I know you're a real brother. I know you looked out. I know you speak up to the powerful people at ESPN when it comes to hiring and retaining people like me. You looked out for me my entire career, and I appreciate you for that, brother. And I tell people that all the time, that you are a real brother, but you have to do your job.
Well, listen, first of all, I wouldn't use the word hard. I would use the word annoying. It's not hard. And I remember that time when T.O. and his ignorant ass comes on First Take and says, Stephen A., Max is more blacker than you, because I disagree with them about the whole Colin Kaepernick situation. Well, has Max been profiled? Has Max had a police pull out his weapon and point a gun at his head just because? Has that happened? Has he experienced racism? Has he been ostracized? I'm not pointing out Max in a negative way. I'm talking about anybody black. I only use Max's name because T.O. that's what T.O. said that day. And then you had the black community, and you had some folks from the Shade Room who I respect, and I appreciate the cachet that the Shade Room has. I'm a fan. But the thing about it is that, you see all of this stuff and the things that, Black Twitter and all of this other stuff, and it makes me laugh. I'm a black man. And I'm a brother. You don't get to decide that. That's natural and innate. God pulled me out of the womb with Janet Smith, who was a black woman. You understand what I'm saying? I'm a black man through and through. You don't get to tell me what I am and what I'm not when God created me to be this person. This is who I am. And I'm not just a black man, I'm a brother. I love my people. Even when I'm getting on us, I get on us so we could do better. Just like people get on me so I could do better. But what you would never hear me say is that brother ain't a brother. That sister ain't a sister just because I disagree with them. And no other community does that to one another but us. We're the ones who do that to one another. That's why some of us make it and some of us don't. Because some of us are small-minded and we think about shit like that. And what we want to do is point the finger at somebody so we can sit up there and say, that's the real reason why we didn't succeed. When really the reason you didn't succeed was because of your small-minded ass. Because you were sitting up there and thinking that people need to think identical to you in order to be embraced and accepted by our own community. And the same is applicable to white folks. So folks that come along and it's like, you're supposed to think exactly this way or think exactly that way. It's not ignorant. It's a lie. Because we as a people know we line our ass off when we say that. And I don't lie about it. I'm going to go on a case-by-case basis with every single thing I discuss. There are people I will go up the stairs, not just to ESPN, but to other networks on their behalf, like Mike Hill, who I think is a great damn host, who belongs in this business, who belongs in a high-profile, big-time position in this business because he's great at what he does, not just because he's my brother, but also there are Black people that I like that can't shine your shoes. And I'm not going to fight that battle for them because they can't back up the support that I would provide. It's that simple. That's the way it goes, and people have to live with it, but they ain't phasing me. I understand what comes with it, and it's like, I'm made for it. Bring it. It's okay.
I appreciate that and I respect that, my brother, man. We are not a monolithic society, man. There is a dichotomy when it comes to us as Black people. And so we do have to get better and do come together to support one another. Like you. I will always, always back you on that when anybody asks or say something to try to criticize you because you're not 100% on board with their message, but you're 99% on board with every other message that they have. But once, you say something negative about one.
It's interesting that you bring that up because real quickly before we get on out of here with a couple more questions, let me tell you something, man. Isn't it amazing how you got some people that'll tell you this stuff and then you turn your back and all of a sudden with your back turned, they'll go and they'll deal with the same people they were telling you not to deal with. So in other words, it's all right for them to conduct business. It's all right for them to cultivate resources and network and position themselves for higher opportunities. But they encouraging you not to do what they did to win. I'm the person that exposes you to what I do so you can win too.
I love it. I love it. Hey, man, before I go, I know we got to run out of here, but I got to ask you some. I could talk about you all day, though, because I think to me, and the reason why I want to talk about you and your career and who you are is because, once again, I think you are the king of sports broadcast. I know you are, man. You're the most talked about person when it comes to sports broadcasting. People who don't even watch sports. I had a young lady of mine that was with me the other day. She said, "Who's that?" Like, I see him all the time everywhere. People know who you are. You become this household name, this household figure. But I do have to ask you about a couple of sports questions, man. Mainly our Knicks. I'm a Knicks fan too. I know, bro. I know. And you know what? Here's the thing I'll say about this, Stephen A, is the fact that they got to the second round, the fact that they got to a game 6 in the second round, I can be satisfied with that because I wasn't expecting that going into this season, even with Jalen Brunson in the addition. Now, it was a great surprise when they won in the first round. They won, in 5 games over Cleveland, and they get there and they think he got a chance against Miami. Miami's playing great. But then I look and I see what's going on, and I see the effort out of some of the players on that team. And, I don't have to name name, but I'm going to say it, Julius Randle. And I heard you call for his trade. The thing is, I do believe that maybe his time is up as well, even though he was third team All-NBA this season, had a phenomenal regular season. You know as well as I do. If you don't get it done in the postseason in New York, whether you are a Giant, a Yankee, a Jet, especially a New York Knick, you are not going to be loved. But it could be the polar opposite, where you can have a horrible regular season, but shine in the postseason and you will be beloved and crowned as a king in that city. What is the issue with Julius Randle and how can the Knicks fix it if they can't trade him?
He's got to grow up. He is an incredibly hard worker. He cares a great deal. Ain't no load management going on with him. He'll play every game if you let him. Until he hurt his ankle, he played the first 77 games of the season for the Knicks. As a worker, he's to be admired and respected. The problem is he thinks he's something he's not. He's not a number 1 offensive option. He's barely a number 2 offensive option. He's really a number 3. And I don't say that because he can't give you over 20 a game. I say that because come playoff time, when they've got a best of 7 series to prepare for you against, they know that left hand is the only hand he's going to use. They know it. Eventually, just wait for it. And if you put somebody against him his size, that has some length, that can get in his face, he struggles. When he struggles, he forces the issue to the detriment of the team. So much so that there are players in the league who don't want to play with him. They don't think he's a bad person. They don't think he's a bad influence. He's some cancerous individual or anything like that. But he believes he's more than what he is. And when you're playing for a coach like Tom Thibodeau, who puts a premium and really prioritizes work ethic and reliability and commitment, that supersedes your abilities in his eyes sometimes, which makes perfect sense during the regular season. But come postseason, it's to your detriment. So as a result of that, I'm of the mindset they should trade him. Because, listen, to me, I'd trade him for Damian Lillard in a heartbeat. I'd trade him for Karl-Anthony Towns in a heartbeat. I wouldn't hesitate because Karl-Anthony Towns is a 6'11" dude with a J, okay? And Damian Lillard, you tell me a better shooter at the point guard spot outside of Steph Curry than Damian Lillard.
And clutch and love.
And closes. And I know that would be a miniature backcourt with him and Jalen Brunson, but I told Damian Lillard this, damn it, get over it. Y'all will find a way. Because when you got two dudes that can handle the rock like that can shoot like that, and can deliver under pressure like that, that goes a long way. That matters.
So is there some hesitation? You talking to Damian Lillard? Is there hesitation with him thinking about
Portland? He loves Portland. He loves Portland. He's committed to Portland. That's his hesitancy. He won't admit it, but Brooklyn is on his mind because he likes the option of Mikal Bridges, Spencer Dinwiddie, and those boys than he does what's at the New York Knicks right now. Him in a small backcourt with Jalen Brunson is a reluctance there. Of course, him with Julius Randle, knowing that Julius Randle believes he's the number one option would be problematic. But the real reason is his commitment to the city of Portland. I mean, he loves it there, and it's going to take a lot for him to walk away.
Yeah. All right, man, I'm going to let you out of here, man. I got to talk about your book, man. Like I said, you're a multimedia. You do so much. I'm so proud of you. I do have your book, man, Straight Shooter, Memoir, Second Chances, First Takes. Why did you feel the need to write the book at this time? You've been popular for a long period of time. What do you hope your audiences take away from it?
Well, I wanted it to be motivational and inspirational. I've been through a lot, and to show that you can overcome tremendous odds and still get to where I am. As I've said in the past, Jay-Z, Shaq and people like that, you can't be them. They're not the American dream. They're the American fantasy come reality. That's a 1 in a billion shot. But you can be me. You can get left back in the 4th grade and held back for the same year because you got a 1st grade reading level. You can sit up there and have a reading disability, undiagnosed dyslexia. You can have a high school guidance counselor laugh at you when you say you want to go to college. You can sit up there and crack your kneecap in half and turn on after being on a basketball scholarship and then turn around and, make yourself into a professional journalist. You can sit up there and scratch and claw your way up to being near at or at the top of a profession that you never dreamed you'd be able to be a part of if you just put your head down and get on your grind and be willing to make the sacrifices necessary to be all you can be. You can be Stephen A. And so for me, that's what it was about. And the reason why I wrote the book, why I waited so long, is because my relationship with my father was not the greatest. And I told my mother knew that one day I would write a book because people have been after me to write a book since ESPN let me go in 2009. My mother knew I would talk about my father, and she knew it wouldn't be in the most flattering way. And my mother, who passed away in 2017, told me in 2011, "You will not write this book until I pass away. Wow. You will not do it." And I made a promise to her that I would never write the book until she died. Mm-hmm. And so after she died, I went through depression for about 2 years. I went through a lot of therapy at that time, never went to therapy in my life. But when my mother died, I was just that devastated and life was just that miserable and that dark for me. And I needed help and I knew it. And I went through that. And then when I came out of that with some degree of my sanity, I started thinking about what I wanted to say. And I said, now's the time.
Yeah, well, hey man, first of all, great book. I'm happy that you're going through therapy, man. I'm glad you're advocating for therapy and you're not afraid to actually speak up and talk about some of the emotional issues that you've had in the past. More brothers need to do that.
Yes.
Other people. A minute left in the show, Stephen A. I got quick open mic with you, quick questions, quick answers. Ready to go? Just a minute.
Sure, let's do it.
Hardest to debate on First Take.
Mad Dog Russo, believe it or not.
Okay.
all of these guys, Ryan Clark, Swagoo, JJ Redick, especially with his analytics and everything, they're all hard. But Doggy's an historian. Doggy is the guy that, you know, in a different way, like Skip Bayless, from the standpoint that the events that you talk about from an historical perspective, they were there. There's a perspective that they can provide that few can. And so because of that, that's why I would say, you know, because they can get you to a place where you can't say they're wrong because they were eyewitnesses.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can challenge them, you can have a compelling argument, but what you can't do is say that they're wrong because they were there.
All right, hey, he knows it. Miami or LA? We keep it going.
Depends on what you're asking.
I won't ask, bro.
I would tell you LA.
Yeah.
I would tell you LA. LA because LA has it all. Miami, no state income taxes. That's a big, big deal. But those hurricanes scare me, even though the earthquakes in LA are scary too. But because there's some things I'm doing in Hollywood with my production company, I got to give LA the edge right now, but it's close.
LA all day, man. Sports host you admire the most outside yourself?
Brian Gumbel.
I love him, man. Dream job outside of the one you're doing?
Succeed Jimmy Kimmel as the host of late night television.
Make that happen, bro. It can happen. Who's playing you in the story of your life?
Me?
Yeah.
Honestly speaking, I think I never thought this before, but I think Michael B. Jordan.
Okay, I can see that. Michael B.
I think I watched him in Just Mercy. I've seen all 3 Creed movies, the third one, which I was in. I watched him in Black Panther, and you know, the personality, the pain, the emotion, fire in his belly because of things that transpired in his life when he was younger. I'm talking about Black Panther. I'm watching these things and what it pulled out of him. And then I think about my life story. I'd say Michael B. Jordan.
I love it, man. All right, man, bro. I'm gonna let you out of here, bro. I'm so proud of you. You know you my guy. I know they got Bill Simmons, Dave Portnoy. Know you got your own entity. I know ESPN employs you, but I know you got employ so many other people, man. So you got your own production company. You got the No Mercy podcast, the book, everything on ESPN, acting. Yeah. Keep on doing your thing, my brother.
I'm about to change the name of my No Mercy podcast. Next week, it'll be called The Stephen A. Smith Show. I'm gonna get rid of them. It's like, it's me. Everybody's Googling me. They're looking for me. So I'm just gonna get rid of the No Mercy, and it's gonna be called The Stephen A. Smith Show.
It's the branding. Everybody knows who Stephen A. Smith is. My man, my brother for life.
Appreciate you, bro.
Love you, man.
Always.
Thank you. All right, man.
Soon.
Okay,
All right.
Brandon.